You're welcome to today's class. Our topic is Basic Science and Technology. I hope you're keeping safe. I hope you're washing your hands with soap and water. I hope you're staying indoor. Okay, today we are looking at the subject Basic Science and our topic pollution. Previously, we looked at the topic measuring length, and we said length is the distance between 2 points, and weight is measurement of how heavy or how light something is. Now we're looking at pollution. Our learner's objectives first. At the end of a lesson, pupils should be able to define pollution, mention the types of pollution, list the effects of pollution, and state the various ways of controlling pollution. This is going to be a long one, so are you ready? Okay, let's start. What is pollution? We can see the diagram there of an environment. That is a factory where they produce something, maybe producing soap or producing something, but you can see pollution, smokes coming out from the company. So that is what we refer to as pollution. So pollution is the introduction of contaminants into the natural environment that causes adverse changes. Pollution is the introduction of contaminants into the natural environment that causes adverse changes. Contaminants are things that causes damage, or things that, on the negative side, contaminants are like dirt. Okay, in a simple form, let's try to define pollution. In another way, pollution can simply be defined as the contamination of the environment. Contamination of the environment is what? Pollution. When the environment is being polluted, is dirty, is having germs around. Okay. So from here we want to move to the types of pollution. If you notice here, we said pollution is a contamination of the environment, meaning that environment for land pollution. Look at the types of pollution. We have 5 major types of pollution, which are water pollution, land pollution, air pollution, light pollution, and noise pollution. You can see the image we have there. That's pollution into the water. That means when the water is contaminated, it is water pollution. If the land is polluted or contaminated, it is land pollution. If the air is contaminated, it is air pollution. Light pollution has to do with contamination of light, maybe as a result of a reflex or so. While noise pollution is a contamination of the environment. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. We've looked at the 5 types of pollution: water, land, air, light, and noise. Effects of pollution. What are the effects of pollution? Firstly, pollution can cause irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat. Take for instance that there is a riot somewhere and the police are trying to bring down the riot. You know, they may decide to spray tear gas into the air, and that can cause pollution. That could cause irritation of the eyes, where you start scratching your eyes, start covering your nose, and your throat start choking and things like that. The same thing, smoke can cause irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat when you start itching it, scratching it. That is what pollution leads to. So pollution can also lead to the development of diseases such as asthma. Asthma has to do with lung diseases. So if one has choked up too much of smoke, it could lead to asthma. Let's use this as an example, a case study. God forbid, a house is burning and they have like 5 people inside, and they're not able to come out. They are trapped. Maybe people are still trying to force out their job. But before they come out, the smoke would have gone into their nose, causes irritation in their nose, their eyes, their throat, and someone that is an asthmatic patient can also be gasping, can also be trying to find air. So once the door is broken in and they take them out, the first thing you see them start trying to gasp for, trying to get air and fresh air and be able to breathe properly. So that can lead to development of diseases. We are still an effect of pollution. Pollution of water now is what we're looking at. Pollution of water such as lake, oceans and river leads to killing of organisms that depend on this water. What are the organisms that depend on the water? We can see our fish inside the water, seagulls, crabs, dolphins and so on. Now, if the water is contaminated, fishes will not be able to grow properly. Are you getting it? Contamination of water can lead to death of fish, death of crabs, death of seagulls, dolphins, and so on. So once water is contaminated, it leads to the death of these animals. We're still looking at what? Effect of pollution. Another effect of pollution. Long-term exposure to air pollution can lead to chronic respiratory diseases like lung cancer, both to humans and animals. Now you can see a man carrying a child beside the place that we have pollution. Now let's assume that their house is close to that place, because in Lagos we know that Lagos is highly populated and people live close to factories where they bring out all this pollution. Now if they've stayed there for so long, it could lead to chronic respiration diseases like lung cancer. So that is why it's not always advisable for people to live near factory. That's why we have some places, we call them industrial estates. That means that place is for industries. It is not good for one's health. The same way animals too can have lung cancer. These are the results of what? Long-term exposure to air pollution. Very good. Now in our effect, now we have looked at land pollution, effect of water pollution, effect of air pollution. Now let's just say one more. Humans are harmed by contaminating illnesses when drinking or using contaminated water. Humans are harmed by contaminating illnesses when drinking or using contaminated water. If you go to some villages, they depend on river, on water. They are river water to do anything. So take for instance a state where they produce oil and there is oil spillage. Now, an environment that depend on that water, it could lead to diseases on them as they take this water. Waterborne diseases, it could lead to it. So humans are harmed by contaminating illnesses when drinking such water. Before we move to ways of controlling pollution, I also want to look at a little of noise. What are the effects of noise pollution? You know, it could cause deafness in the ears, and also light pollution. It could cause blindness. It may not be a completely blindness. It may not be a completely blindness that you won't be able to see anything, but it may reduce the length of the eyes. Maybe you'll not be able to see so far, maybe you'll not be able to read and things like that. So that is how it comes gradually. Now we're moving to ways of controlling pollution. How do we control this pollution? Stop smoking, or do not throw your bombs on the ground. Do not throw your boots on the ground. Don't smoke where people are so that they would not get contaminated. Keep your car properly maintained to keep it in good running condition to avoid smoke emission. Okay, you can see that we need to put our cars in proper checks, because most of the time when our cars are not properly checked, that what make it to lead to heat bringing out smokes and things like that. So the first one we say stop smoking. Second we say keep your cars properly maintained. Now thirdly, we're looking at plant more trees. When trees are planted, it makes us to have fresh air. It makes us to live alright. The kind of environment we have will be much more better than a choked one. So we need to plant tree. Planting of tree is the same thing as what? Afforestation. The next one, adopt the 3 R's of solid waste management. What are the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Can we take it again? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, we need to adopt these 3 R's of solid waste management. That means we must reduce some of the things that we don't need to use. Reduce it. It's not everything you must take. Reuse it if you have to reuse them, like your bottle, your containers of bottles, you can reuse them. And you can also recycle them when necessary. Those are the ways of reducing when pollution. You know that this bottled water that you see, some of them they end up pouring them in the sea, in a drainage, which could cause blockage. So if we recycle them, it will reduce such things. Okay, another way of reducing waste: do not burn garbage in open, especially plastic and wet plants. Don't burn them in open. It causes pollution. So when we reduce burning of garbage in open places, it will reduce pollution. Next, never use open fire to dispose waste, especially chemicals and plastic. Still not burning things. You can see the image there where garbage are being burned in open. That could lead to pollution. So reducing them, not doing them at all, will reduce pollution. And lastly here, choose to walk or ride a bicycle whenever possible. It's not everywhere you're going that you take your car to. You can decide to walk down, you can decide to ride a bicycle when possible. So that helps to reduce pollution and spread the awareness, because it's not everyone that knows that all these are pollutions and all these are ways of spreading it. So when we spread the awareness, when we let people know that they can reduce pollution, and you start seeing people bringing it to practice, you've made an impact. Okay, so we can see the 2 cyclists riding bike, possibly trying to have an exercise or just trying to get something done quickly. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's class. Our topic was pollution. A recap of what we've done. Our topic was pollution, and we said that pollution is the contamination of our environment. We went to types of pollution. We looked at the 5 major types of pollution: water, land, air, light, and noise. And we looked at the ways of effects of pollution. That is, what can this pollution lead to? We say it can cause irritation of eyes, nose, and throat. It can lead to the development of diseases. We said it can lead to the killing of organisms in water. We also said that it could lead to chronic respiratory diseases, and we also said that it could lead to waterborne diseases. What are the ways of controlling pollution? One of the points that I raised was that we should stop smoking. Secondly, our cars should be well maintained. Thirdly, plant trees. Fourthly, adopt the 3 C's of solid waste management. The next one we said, do not burn garbage. Do not use open fire to dispose your waste. We also said choose to walk or ride a bicycle whenever possible. And lastly, spread the awareness. Let people know ways they can reduce pollution. So we've come to the end of today's topic. We've come to the end of the class today. Before we go, we have our exercise there. The first one says what is pollution. Secondly, mention five ways to control pollution. List 5 effects of pollution and mention 5 types of pollution. So I'll be expecting you to send in your exercises to my WhatsApp line, which is displayed on the screen. Feel free to ask questions if you want to. You want to show your friends some of those things you are learning, you're free to share the link to your friends. And you can also subscribe so that whenever I have more videos, you can quickly see them. And before you know it, you are learning at the comfort of your home. Till I come your way next time, I want you to be good children. Stay indoors this period till everything is over. I need to be over very soon. Okay, bye bye. See you some other time.